Good morning, my friends. Welcome. All right, talking to you Gen Xers. That's, I don't know what age, but I'm 54, so it's somewhere around that. And we have kids that are somewhere around 30s and below. If that is you, I'm talking to you and I'm talking to your kids today. Because why? Because we've got this whole thing where our kids are saying, you're dangerous, I can't talk to you, you're toxic, and they're cutting us off. And we're going, what the crap, I put a roof over your head, I don't understand. So, welcome to Leaning In with Ann. I'm Ann Ferguson, and we're gonna sort this whole thing out, see if we can get some understanding, and maybe find the place of connection that we're all really, really craving. So, with me today is my cousin. This is Meg. Hi. We had an excellent conversation last night about some of this stuff, and I was on a 2-hour call with somebody yesterday, and we kind of sorted through this, and I went, you know, we just don't get it. We're just not getting it, and there's so much pain in us not getting it. So, those of you who are just meeting me, I'm an author, I'm a course creator, I'm really not that cool. I just walk around in circles and I talk, and for some reason, people listen. And it's super cool. Let's get down to this. I know the pain. Parents, I want you to listen up. Kids, just listen in, but parents, I need your ears for a minute. I know the pain of what it is to have felt like you're kind of all alone in this, I've got to raise my kids. And I mean, you know, you had moms around and things like that, but there was a structure of a way to do things. And honestly, if your kids did what they were supposed to, it was evidence and proof that you were doing good as a mom, as a parent. And when your kids didn't, everybody freaking knew about it, right? So in my world, that happened to my mom because, you know, we were all doing all the things, and then my brother started in on the drugs. Guess what? Everybody knew that my mom was not righteous or doing a good job or blah, blah, blah. Okay. I heard in church recently some things that are shaming. And I want you to know, guys, our generation, we are so accustomed to shame that we don't even notice when it's happening. Okay, so at church, this guy got up into the pulpit and he was talking about how statistically, those families who are reading scriptures together, having prayer and a weekly meeting as a family each week, that their children statistically will do better off in their relationship and worship of God. Well, that sounds fantastic, right? Except for what happens to the people in the congregation whose children are making different choices. What does that say about them? It was this massive shame bomb that he didn't even know he was dropping. He had no clue. See, our generation is so accustomed to shame, it's like our underwear. Like we put it on every single day. And we're good with it. And it kind of keeps us in check as to whether or not we're operating according to some big they that is governing whether or not we're okay. Now, please do not misinterpret me. I believe in structure. I do not believe in anarchy. I believe that there has to be some kind of container and structure within society. I went to a retreat lately and I loved it because the guy talked about it being riverbanks so that the water can flow. There's got to be some kind of structure. Well, kids of Gen X parents, I want you to know our structure was shame. It was duty, it was honor, it was obligation, and shame. And that's how we could measure whether or not we were operating within the riverbanks. I'll tell you about those riverbanks. They're about this narrow, like this. So squishy, straight and narrow is what our riverbanks were. And if you flowed inside or out of that, it was kind of a big revolt and you're rebellious and all sorts of crazy happened. Now, very specifically to some religious cultures, it was even worse. Depending on your family, you could have had a lot of freedom and had no structure, and that's a hot mess. Because then other people who have structure view you as being non-structured, and then you're still not within it. And shame is there. All right, parents, our kids do not vibrate with shame. We tried. We really tried. We tried to discipline them. We tried to say, I cannot believe you did this. What were you thinking? And put them in the room just like we were. Like we were taught how to shame very appropriately to keep us all adulting. We learned it. We learned it well. We learned it good. And I'll tell you what happened, my friends. This stupid thing called the internet, which is lovely and divine. Otherwise, you would not be talking to me right now. It changed the riverbanks. It widened the parameters in great big ways. And we were all excited, like we were on the cutting edge of technology. So we're gonna get computers in our home, and we're gonna get the little disc and the ping ping from AOL. You know, we're gonna figure out how to do this. And oh my gosh, are you kidding? I can just type and somebody across the world can type back at me? Chat rooms. Oh my gosh, they were fantastic. What the heck? That was the beginning. We were the ones who put that beginning into your world. Parents, I want you to hear that. We were the ones that opened up the world to our children. We thought we were preparing them for our world like our parents prepared us for theirs. The problem is their world isn't ours. The reason why I want you to hear this is because parents, we missed it. Within our world, the structure would have continued to hold up, and it has for generations upon generations upon generations. And Gen Xers, you're literally the X. You are the crossroads between the best part of old tradition and the best part of new awareness. So what's happening is that our kids are actually living in the new awareness age. See, they're able to actually have feelings. They're willing to explore what's going on in their internal world. They're willing to say, wait a minute, but maybe you're not the authority. Maybe the authority is me in relationship with God. Maybe my inner being knows more than you do about me. I want you to think about that for just a minute, guys, because it's true. Whew. It is so rough to feel like everything you know, everything you've done, might not be all there is. Our kids know it, and they're pulling away from us. Like, how many of you out there, myself included, have got kids that said, I can't do this. I can't do this relationship with you. You're not hearing me. It doesn't work. And they're saying, I love you, but, and they're cutting us off and not having connection with us. And we're like, what the freaking crap? Because duty and honor and obligation, like that's part of that's okay. That you don't go outside without your duty, honor, and obligation. Okay? And so it's like, what do you mean? I am your mother. You come to Easter and let me shame you. Not knowing that I was shaming, you know. You come, you be around, you do what I say. Oh, and let me tell you what you need to do with your kids because you're obviously doing it wrong. Gen Xers, you may be right now going, yeah, but I don't do that. I don't do that. You don't understand. Our kids are just ornery. They just think they know everything. And I want you to flip that around on yourself. Hey, Gen Xers, you're ornery. And you think you know everything. And our kids are over it. Because they know that they know. Our generation had authority as our parents, encyclopedia, church leader, and a teacher, right? Oh, extended family. Sometimes like a grandma and grandpa had that, you know, authority kind of thing. But the only authority they had was the experience that they had within the world and confines of their very narrow riverbanks. We were supposed to all live within the riverbanks, and that authority would have really kept us safe because they know how to navigate the river, right? We don't know how to navigate this river. And we were the ones that put the river in front of our kids. So it's time for some ownership. Kids, there's time for some ownership. I need you to understand something. Step one, I am so freaking proud of you. You should have been allowed to feel. You should have been taught that your inner voice was the one to listen to, because it's connected to Christ and it will always guide you into the right place. Now, some of you parents are going, yeah, but they decided to dive into drugs and they decided to do this, and that's not their inner voice, and we can't trust their inner voice. That's not their inner voice. That's the rebellion ego, because they haven't been seen or heard. The inner one is calling them back. But they can't be called back into where we were. It's not possible. They have to find their inner voice. Guess what we do not have access to, most of us Gen Xers? I want you to hear this. The reason why you are so freaked out, so scared, and so panicked is because we believed that somebody else knew and could tell us what to do. And we're finding out in this world that there's nobody who can tell us. And it's freaking us out in massive panic. And it's because you haven't checked in and found out how God is speaking inside of you. Because that's where safety is. It's within the inner voice. Now, our kids have figured that out. Kids, listen up. We didn't mean to neglect you emotionally. And the pain of loneliness that you have felt wasn't fair. And it wasn't okay. And the fact that we're not actually validating the fact that it even happened is really hard. We did put the roof over your head, and we did buckle down and be adults, and we didn't play with you because we weren't supposed to. We were supposed to be adults, and you craved us. You just craved us to let go and be, and let us have connection with you. And you shouldn't have had to do all of this crazy navigating the riverbanks that we put in front of you alone. I get it. And I totally get that you shouldn't be our parents. I'm going to address that. I was talking to this woman yesterday, and she was talking about her kids, and she says, I just don't understand them. And I said, can you help me understand? Can you just help me understand what's even going on here? And I called her out. You didn't want to understand. Like, our kids know this. Our kids know this. What you wanted was to find the hole in their logic so that you could be superior and tell them how it is. They're not talking. If your kids are clammed up, it's because you're not actually curious. You're not wondering what they know that you don't know. You're just trying to find the reason where you can prove that your way is best and is safest, and they need to get in line so that you can feel good about yourself again. Because their behavior is rocking your freaking world. Even when they're good kids. Because they don't come over for family dinner because you ask them to. They don't come to Easter like they're supposed to, because that's what families do, because they're kind of tired. They're kind of tired of the language that we use with them when we're there. We don't even know we're doing it. Okay, I want you to hear this. We don't know we're doing it. But believe me, we're doing something that is causing our kids to push away from us. It is not them. It is not them having it too easy. It is not them being entitled. It is not. They are enlightened. Ooh, that's a really hard pill to swallow, right? It was really rough for me. And so confusing. And so painful. When my daughter told me that through therapy, she had discovered that I was an abuser and that I was neglectful. My world spun upside down and backwards. I had no idea what she was even talking about. I didn't neglect her. I stayed home in poverty so that she didn't go to babysitters. I was right there. And emotionally, I didn't listen to her and I didn't support her. You know what this girl's doing? Oh my gosh. It's so brilliant. She taught me that when my grandkids were leaving and I say, hey, come give grandma a hug, and they say no, I'm like, no, but come give Grandma a hug. You should give Grandma a hug. She said, Mom, if my girls do not want to have physical contact or touch or hug, I've given them the right to say no. And they were like 2 and 3. Oh my gosh, like this epiphany. Oh, because I was like obligated because they're family. What does that set up for us all? How many sexual abuse things happen because of family members? Because you're told, even though bells and whistles are going off, that you need to hug that person because they love you, because they're family. Oh, my enlightened genius. Some days my grandbabies hug me. Some days they don't want to. And I get to honor what their internal compass is telling them at any given time. It's not that I am unsafe, but to them, they're feeling either unsafe or they're feeling like they just don't want to. And guess what? Not giving Grandma a hug is not a legal offense. Sometimes I used to make it be that way, but it's not actually. I understand how much it hurts when you're bewildered and you don't know. Kids, here's something that is your part to own. Out in therapy and in all of this psychological healing that's going on, there's a conversation that says, just walk away from toxic relationships, or you can't expect them to be anything other than they are. So you're just going to have to find out what your life is and deal with it. And while I completely agree, I disagree. Now let me tell you what I disagree with. That we Gen Xers, we can't learn your language. I disagree with that. You are speaking in a way that we do not understand. You are feeling in a way that we've never been given permission to. See, if we felt we were punished, and then we punished you, and you're like, no way. So you're learning this whole new language, and it's foreign. We don't even know what it is. So I know that you don't want to be our parents. I know that it may be present because we don't know better, and maybe in the past because there's been some evolution. I believed for a long time that if you loved me, you would take care of my emotional state. So if you upset me, then repentance means you come make me feel better. I made my children responsible for my emotions. And they're like, I'm not your parent. Why did they say it that way? It's because when they were little, they would fuss. And as a parent, we would read the fussing and we would come and take care of them. They grew up and learned to hear their own fuss and learned what to do about it. Not shut down the fact that there was even fuss and pretend like it didn't exist. That was our deal. And so the fact that we are fussing and we feel so bad, and they don't even care. They're so cold-hearted. They know that I'm upset and I'm crying about this, and they walk away and won't come to Easter anyway. I can't believe they would do that to their mother. I'm not making fun of your emotions, my Gen X parents, because it's real and it's deep and it cuts and it's so confusing. But hear me, your children are not responsible for your emotional nervous system regulation. What's happening is that you are having an emotional experience, which is just your nervous system signaling things and vibrational energy. And ready? No one has the ability to respond to your nervous system. It's only you who can breathe that out. It's only you who can seek some understanding. It's only you who can go, oh, well, this is what I need right now so that my nervous system can settle down, because right now I'm feeling really hurt and I really want to withdraw. Whew, my nervous system thinks I'm going to die. What do I need to do with that? That is all within your ability to respond. So ready? It is your response ability. You cannot make your children want to be in connection with you just by willing and saying, I'm hurting, so connect with me. It doesn't work. Kids, please hear this. I beg of you, when you get fully healed and you feel like you've got your grounding and that you know what your inner voice sounds like, and you have been able to validate that your feelings are real and it's okay to have, and that your voice and your perspective is real because that is how you see things, when you get into that space, will you please reach back? Will you please reach back and teach us what we don't know? It's kind of like I've had my kids explain computer stuff to me. Like, they know this technology stuff and I'm still like 7 steps behind. I remember laughing about my dad. Oh, we got a VCR. And he's like, do that thing, do the thing. And I'm like, Dad, it's a triangle. Push it, it starts. Like, it's a triangle. All you have to know is your shapes, Dad. I'm feeling the same way right now. Just do the thing. I don't know what the thing is. And you kids who have figured out how to feel and connect and what to do with your own kids, you're like, you know, it's just a triangle, Mom. What's your problem? If you can't push the triangle, I can't watch the show. I can't be with you. I'm asking you to reach back when you are ready and teach us what you know. This is what it sounds like. Gen X parents, I want you to hear. Child, hey Mom, I just want to give you a little bit of feedback right now. I love you, but what you just said is invalidating to me, and I don't like it. Okay, immediately what I want to do is, what are you talking about? I was kind. I was loving. There was nothing wrong with what I said, except that our kids actually don't read what we say. They're highly attuned to what we actually feel. How many of you were taught that you could be all afraid or you could be disgusted with somebody, but it wasn't appropriate social behavior to make them feel bad? And so you were kind and you were loving and you said all the right things, all the while inside seething with whatever it was. We believe that what we say is what people will pick up, and that that's the truth, and we just have to, and for years we have all done that to each other. Here, I want you to hear what I say, and don't listen to any weirdness that you're feeling coming from me that's actually going into your own heart that's giving you bells and whistles, because that's not kind of distrust. Like, just, you know, take me at my face value. And then our kids are like, yeah, but you're all fake. Like, you're not authentic. You don't even know what you're saying. Our kids feel the vibrational energy that our body's nervous system is sending out. Now, if you think that's a bunch of woo-woo, question, have you ever walked into a room where people are arguing, they've done arguing, and you've walked in and it feels weird in that room, you can tell something's gone down? That's called vibrational energy. It's emotions. And those vibrations have walked into the room because that's what our bodies do. Why? Because as babies, we don't have language. So when we're needing something, our vibrational energy matches with the vibrational energy of a caregiver, and we interpret it. That's, you know, when we're feeling really sad and they don't respond, it's because we're actually sending our sadness to them and we want them to fix it. So kids, listen up. We don't know any other way. So for you to say, hey Mom, that actually was really, really judgmental of me and very invalidating, and it doesn't feel good. Now, Gen X parents go, really? Can you tell me what it is to validate this? Now, last little point. Kids, I want you to hear this. It's interesting that I said it that way. When you were little and we were trying to teach you to not run out to the street, stop hitting your brother, go make your bed, go brush your teeth, what did we say to you? You are not a good listener. You need to start hearing me. You need to start listening. Well, listening just meant obeying. So if you hear me and then you don't do what I'm requesting, that means you're being disobedient, and that equals punishment and shame. Can we stop that a little bit? Because this is why. The reason why we are not willing to hear each other is because we believe that the minute we hear, we're supposed to do whatever the person is saying that we're listening to. I want you to ponder that for a minute. Is it okay to have somebody have a completely different point of view and you hear them and not adopt their point of view? See, that's against the rules of childhood, but it's not against the rules of life. And our kids have found that out. I'm going to say it again. You're not listening to your children. What they're telling you is their heart. And if you listen to them, all you're doing is seeing the fact that that is what they see. That is what they're feeling. Their point of view, their conviction, their commitment to an agenda, you are not aligning with and or condoning. You're not saying, oh, I understand, so I'm going to jump in with you. No, you can understand their point of view without agreeing with it. And I will tell you, that's where actual communication is. If we're willing to take a step back and say, okay, your point of view is this, my point of view is that, that's interesting. I'm glad we know that about each other now, because now we can move forward and do something differently. Because I totally misinterpreted your point of view. You totally misinterpreted my point of view. And what I feel when you misinterpret my point of view is misunderstood. We misunderstand our kids all the time. Kids, patience, please. Hey, Mom, there's things that you're missing. I would love to have a relationship with you. I know that you're not aware that you invalidate me. And I know that you're not even aware that you need validation. But I've discovered a secret language that equals connection. And I really want to have it, Mom. I really want to feel safe emotionally with you. I really, really do. So I'm willing to be here and kind of teach you. And when you just shut me down, I'm going to walk away and let you process what has just happened. And when you get curious and you ask me to step back in, I'll be open and I'll let you know what I need. See, when you were little teeny tiny kids, you cried, but you had different pitches of cry. And us adults, we figured out what this cry meant to what that cry meant. You taught us. You're crying emotionally right now. And I know you shouldn't have to be our parents, but the reality is we just plain don't know. We've got to bend our will, if you will, and say, hey kids, teach me, you know what I don't. And kids, you've got to lean back and say, I forgive you, and I can teach you. All of that can only happen within the construct of the atonement of Jesus Christ. So if all this is confusing, if something's landing but not making sense, I so appreciate the fact that you don't believe me or that you do. Because I honor whatever your internal process is. I encourage you to write stuff down, things that don't make sense to you that I'm talking about, things that do make sense that I'm talking about. Take it to your God and say, teach me what I need to know, because above all things, I want a relationship. I want to feel close. I want to feel intimately connected. So both kids and parents were feeling the same thing. And we got to work together. That is it. I would love your feedback. I would love your comments. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm right. Let's keep a conversation going. And if you want to know how to find out what you feel inside without any judgment that your feelings are wrong, I strongly encourage you to take Igniting Your Belief class. The belief that you are valid, that what you feel is okay, that what you think is okay. It is the source of all connection and all creation. You want your life to be different? Figure out what you feel. Step one. Gen X kids, you deserve it. You deserve our heart. You deserve our understanding. And Gen X kids, We deserve your grace. We deserve your forgiveness, and we deserve your patience. We can be the most connected group of people that has ever walked the planet if we're willing to do this. Challenge it. Take a class. Igniting your belief. Somebody said to me yesterday, you know, I don't think there's anywhere else. I think it was you said that there isn't any other place where emotional maturity is taught.
Yeah, exactly.
That what we teach is emotional maturity. It's nowhere else. Therapy teaches you what happened in the past and how it screwed you up. Emotional maturity is how you deal with it and how you walk forward. All right, my friends, that is it. Ciao. Have a great day.